Think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
And welcome once again, High School Basketball Weekly. I'm Tim Morey, along with my good friend and our co-producer in some of our broadcasts, Jeff Karpaska, who is filling in for Rick Bua, who is on assignment this week. And Jeff, getting right into it, girls' action in high school basketball was big this week. We saw a game that I covered during the week where Wacona was beaten by Taconic, but Wacona came back later in the week, and they defeated Granby handily 48-19. And in an outstanding game last night, they came back and beat the Lady Blue Devils 49-43 behind Maria Gambaroni's 26 points. And of course, we saw last year, Jeff, this Wacona team, they are talented. They play a very tough zone defense, and they slow the game down and make it very difficult to score against them.
The Hoosick Valley girls, when they play them, are going to have their hands full with that team, that's for sure. We'll see what happens going forward. I think tomorrow we're going to, the 20th, I think, we're going to be talking about Hoosick Valley playing the Taconic girls, and that's going to be a tough game.
And speaking of Hoosick Valley, we are absolutely delighted to have with us, joining us now on High School Basketball Weekly, the coach of the Lady Hurricanes, Ron Wojcik. Coach Wojcik, thank you for joining us on High School Basketball Weekly.
Oh, you're welcome, Tim.
And Coach, what a start of the season it's been for the Lady Hurricanes. All road games, you stand now at a record of 3-0. And of course, you came off a victory last night against Mount Everett. They gave you a little bit of a tussle in the first half in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Gwendolyn Carpenter, she's a great ball player, and she'll be playing certainly point guard in college somewhere, and I believe she's going to Framingham. But I told the girls that. I said, and she really took it to us. I saw it early. She beat us off the dribble, was finding girls underneath, and we finally, threw a couple different things at her, and, we're able to start turning things around in the second quarter. But she really did a nice job.
Coach, this is Jeff Karpaska. How are you today?
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Good. Listen, so your first 4 games are going to be on the road. What are you taking away from being on the road for 4 games in a row?
I'm eating a lot of pizza. I can tell you that. We just... It's been interesting. Yeah, we usually try to, mix it up a little bit. And we have a lot of young kids this year working into the system along with, some of our seasoned veterans. So I think it's been good for them in that sense. We had that tough battle up in Minnechaug in a really good environment. And it's going to be that way. I think, tomorrow night it'll be great crowd at Taconic with their 3-0 start as well. So I think it's been a learning experience for the younger kids. We're happy to be certainly where we are right now. I don't ever think any games are easy on the road. I don't care who you're playing, and I think the kids have been coming along nicely with it.
Do you think it's a unifying force to be on the road for 4 games?
I think that helps. Absolutely. Absolutely. We try to do some stuff early. We just travel to a prep school and do some things like that. But I think, it definitely brings the team together. A couple of nice, bus rides. And they've been long trips, too. I mean, Mount Everett's, not close. Minnechaug, good hour and a half. But, I think the kids certainly really come together with all that. And, it's really you guys, and the kids. It's so because you look at it like, there's not, you have the parents and a few fans may make their way down there, but you don't have the local fan support that you have in playing games around here.
Well, Coach, you've been getting some great contributions from your two senior leaders, Lexi Mercier and Allie Mendel. And Allie Mendel is our high school player of the week, and she's had some big games. She had a huge game against Minnechaug, and she had another outstanding game against Mount Everett. Of course, Allie is closing in on 1,000 points now, and she's had a great career at Hoosick Valley, but we think of her as a scorer. Having watched her three for the last 4 years, I don't think she gets enough credit for her hard-nosed defensive play.
Yeah, she's done a lot for us over the years. I can barely hear you too, just an FYI on that, but I think I heard most of it. She does everything for us. I mean, from a little bit of rebounding, she gets some steals. She's really good reading off the ball and playing passing lanes. She's not afraid to mix it up with kids. And, along with being a great slasher and a great shooter, I just think it's been amazing what she's been able to do for us. And she's, certainly one of our girls that those young girls are looking up to this year for sure.
Well, Coach, also coming up, of course, you've got this big game against the Taconic on Friday night. And that should be a great atmosphere down at Taconic. Got a great young team there and some veterans that have transferred in from Pittsfield now. So that should be a good game. But right after that, you've got a tremendous tournament coming up on next Friday and next Saturday, the 28th and 29th. Can you talk to us a little bit about that tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. And that game's tomorrow night. The Taconic game is Thursday night. Yeah, just so people aren't messed up. But yeah, tomorrow night we're going to Taconic. Yeah, we're excited about our tournament. I mean, we have Greenfield and South Hadley, who very possibly can be two of the Final Four Western Mass teams at the end of the season in Division III. Right now, I think the rankings came out today. They had Greenfield at 3, and their 3-0 start. They've beaten a Division I school in West Springfield. South Hadley is always hard-nosed. I think they've beaten a Division I school in Chicopee. So that's going to be a great first game. And then we play Whitman-Hanson, who's a Division I school out of the D1 Boston South. And that'll be, once again, a big challenge for us and our girls. They're big. I had somebody down there scouting them last night, and they're big. They press. Like to get up and down the court. So probably, from the sounds of it, it may be a very similar game to our Minnechaug game, which was the track meet. So I think you got 4 really, really good teams. And, we're fortunate that a D1 from Boston is willing to come out here and play in it. So I think people that are big fans of certainly basketball or even girls basketball have an opportunity to see, 2 really good games Friday and Saturday night.
And again, that tournament is Friday the 28th and Saturday the 29th, and there'll be 2 games each night.
Correct, yeah. And Friday, the games are at 6 and 7:30. And then Saturday, a little bit earlier for the team staying over, 4:30 and 6. 4:30 is the consolation, and 6 o'clock will be the final.
So, Coach, we don't want to skip over the fact that you're playing the Taconic Braves this week. What do you know about them that you can tell us?
They're really good. They have a very, very athletic team. They have the Bramer girl that came over from Pittsfield High. She's a junior now. She's a very good guard, scorer, slasher. They have the Curry girl who's quick, athletic. She can shoot the 3-ball from Pittsfield High. They also have a couple of really dynamite freshmen. The Conyers girl, Freddie Conyers, for those of you that remember him playing years ago, his daughter. She's probably one of the premier freshmen, not only in the county, but I would even say in Western Mass. She's really, really good. And they like to get up and down the court, and they're trying to play fast and get after it a little bit. So, Yeah, I mean, it's a style that, hopefully we can match with them and, make a good run at them tomorrow night.
And Coach, again, looking at so far early on in this season for Hoosick Valley, of course, teams have got to defend Lexi Mercier and Allie Mendel. But you have, looking at the box scores, you have 4 or 5 other young ladies who have the capacity to score and shoot that basketball. Specifically coming to mind, players like Riley Robinson, Sarah Field, Annie Canales. They present a real defensive dilemma to teams, don't they?
Yeah, it's really a good situation to be in. We're fortunate. We actually feel based on our personnel, we have probably 9 girls that can step out and are really comfortable, and we're comfortable with them shooting the 3. So some of the names you mentioned, and then throwing in some of the new freshmen this year. We've been playing anywhere from 10 to 12 kids a game, with meaningful minutes for some or most of them. And it's been a really good group. It gives us, we have a lot of depth. We have opportunity to rest some of the regulars a little bit. And our goal is to just keep the pace up as high a level as we can, and maybe hopefully wear out some teams that aren't as deep as us.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for joining High School Basketball Weekly here and spending some time with us. It's always a pleasure to have you. We look forward to obviously covering you folks at Hoosick Valley the rest of the season. And of course, we'll wish you the best of luck on your upcoming game against Taconic and your big tournament next weekend at Hoosick Valley.
Thank you very much, Tim. Enjoyed being on, and we look forward to seeing you guys. Yeah, we look forward to be playing in our own gym at some point too.
Great. That's head coach Ron Wojcik of the Lady Hurricanes joining us on this program, Jeff. And Ken, once again, Hoosick Valley off to a strong start as they usually are. But I'll tell you, we're seeing some great action in girls basketball throughout Berkshire County. And I'll tell you, this Drury girls team, they're 1-2 right now. They opened up with a victory over Mount Greylock, and they lost a tough game to Wacona in overtime just last night. Brooke DeGennaro leading the way for Drury. And she's been pretty solid for the Hurricanes, for the Blue Devils. This team features also a young freshman in Kayla McGrath, just a freshman, and she has the ability to score from three-point land and is a pretty accomplished, smart player.
Yeah, Ian's got a good young team this year. I think they're going to go far. These first two games, you can see what the strategy is there. They want to play tough defense. They're spreading the ball around and getting the ball to McGrath, for some great outside shooting.
On the boys' side, of course, taking a look at the Drury Blue Devils, they're off to an outstanding start at 3-0. They have beaten every opponent quite handily. They opened up with a big victory over Turner's Falls. Scott McGuire scoring 29, Hunter Sarkis scoring 16, Reese Reset with 15. They came on strong in the fourth quarter to beat a very good Lee team, 66-55. And once again, Scott McGuire led the way with 23, followed by Reese Reset with 22 and Sarkis with 14. And you can see in the Division Boys 4 rankings there, Drury's on top. They're the cream of the crop this year in Division 4, and I think these teams are going to be chasing them. Ware's undefeated at 4-0. They're off to a good start. But Drury has beaten Hopkins. They've beaten Turner's Falls. So they have shown that they are the top of the heap there in Division 4. But when we talked to Coach Reset earlier in the year, he indicated that he's got to get other players on his team to step up because, as he, in his own words, said you can't have a two-man band in Scott McGuire and Reese Reset. We know what those two great players could do. And he's getting some good contributions from Hunter Sarkis, who has a really nice shot from outside. And I think Coach Reset is right. That is the key to the Drury Blue Devils, a little bit of balance, and they're getting it right now.
I'll be looking forward to when Drury plays some Division I competition as well to see how they do against the bigger, better teams in the upper divisions.
Yeah, and I think that's going to help them a lot, Jeff. That's one of the things that Coach Reset pointed out when we interviewed him at the Bucky Bullet Jamboree. The fact that Drury, they're going to play 2 games against Taconic, 2 games against Pittsfield High, 2 games against Monument Mountain. Monument has a very good team this year, and so he gets the benefit of that, and that's only going to help Drury as they go down the road. Also on the boys' side in action, the Mount Greylock Mounties now are 2-1. They lost to Sabas 81-45, and Sabas, of course, on the boys' D3 side, we have Sabas as the #1 team in the rankings there. Very good team as usual. They play a primarily Division I schedule in their league. And of course, they're followed by Monument, and I think this Monument team is unsung, but I saw them play Hoosick Valley, and they have size, and they have good guard play, and they're going to be a tough out in Division III. Wacona at 2-1, Hoosick at 3-1, Greylock at 2-1, so it's pretty much a Berkshire County at this point dominated in the Division III in the early going. But Greylock, they have come out of the gates fairly strong. Big game coming up for Greylock this Saturday night, December 22nd. They play Hoosick Valley at Hoosick Valley, and that'll be an interesting game as to see how these two teams stack up against each other. Hoosick Valley, of course, getting out of the gate with the new head coach Dave Hart, and they have gotten out of the gate reasonably fast, although they lost a tough game to Monument Mountain in their home opener, 48-32. They have rebounded nicely. They defeated Renaissance 67-50 behind Isaiah Stubbs, who scored 21 in that one, and John Kroll and Joe Demolino chipping in with 10 apiece. And then they came back on Monday night to beat Lennox 55-36 handily. They controlled that action. Again, Demolino had 18, Stubbs with 11. And this is a team, Hoosick Valley, that if they can shoot the basketball, and that's been one of their issues, they're going to be tough to handle if they can find some scoring, because they play hard, they continue to defend the ball fairly well, and so their issue is offense. And
working out the football kinks, that first week was a little tough, but since then, as you said, they've had a couple of good games, and their offense and defense have come around.
And just taking a look again at that, when you look at these teams coming up, you get a sense of the fact that they're playing this independent schedule right now, but they're about ready to enter league play. And anyone that's following Berkshire County basketball, for the D3 teams and in Division III, Hoosick Valley, Wacona, and Monument, and Drury, who's in Division IV, as well as Mount Greylock in Division III. These teams benefit from the very, very tough competition that they're playing, because Pittsfield and Taconic are outstanding this year, and that's only going to help these teams.
You're following a similar strategy to what Coach Wojcik does on the girls' side for Hoosick Valley, which is to get your chops busted at the beginning of the season, work out the kinks with your team, figure out who are the good players, and then go forward into the league schedule.
That's certainly true, and of course, when you're looking at these teams all come together, they are just some outstanding games that are on the schedule. you know, you can't, you're going to want to see Drury when they play Taconic, Pittsfield, Wacona, Hoosick Valley. Right there, those are 8 quality contests that Drury's going to tangle with. They're not going to see better competition anywhere than right here in Berkshire County when it comes to those 4 games. So I know Coach Reset views the schedule as being very, very important to him in preparing his team for postseason, because certainly Drury looks to be pretty solidly secured of getting into the Division IV tournament this year.
Right.
The same thing for the boys in Mount Greylock. You know, having talked to head coach Bob Thistle, of course, his objective in his mind is to get to the tournament, is to get the necessary wins to qualify, because as he said to me, he goes, we're not going to face better competition than our league competition coming up. And he feels that if his teams can get in there and win, he's going to stand a real good chance of making some noise in that Division III tournament like he did last year. And of course, he views it very, very important for him to come away with a victory at Hoosick Valley this Saturday night when he plays Hoosick down at Hoosick Valley. And for Hoosick Valley, they view this game as an important game. Also, Coach Hart talked to me about this game, and he said, look, with our schedule, we have to protect our home court whenever we can because we're going to have some difficult games on the road. So he views it as vitally important for them to come away with a victory against Mount Greylock on Saturday night.
And Mount Greylock actually has, as we were showing on the video there, Mount Greylock has a new gym to create a home court advantage with.
Yeah, they really do. We went over there for the Jamboree, and I thought the facility is beautiful. And of course, they had just a beautiful, difficult time last year as they were road warriors and they were playing all in different locations. And in spite of that, they were able to get into the tournament. But they certainly are going to benefit from being able to practice and play in their own home gym. Finishing off with a review of McCann's boys and girls. McCann, of course, did not play in action yet. And they're playing actually their next game against Smith Academy. So we'll be able to report on that the next time on High School Basketball Weekly. The McCann girls, we talked about them, Jeff, earlier in our broadcast, our first broadcast of the year, and they are now at 3-1. And we thought the McCann girls had a chance to really do something this year. They opened on the road with a victory over Pioneer. Kaylee Tatro and Aubrey Tetlow led the way, along with Izzy Lacasse checking in with 10 points. They lost to a very good Lee team. Grace Toller led the way with 11 points, and then they won their home opener over Pathfinder, 55-19. And once again, it was Kaylee Tatro leading the way with 19 points. They followed up that victory with a victory over Smith Academy, and a very good Smith Academy team. Once Grace Toller led the Lady Hornets with 14 points. So this Lady Hornets team in Division IV at 3-1, they're looking to get in the tournament, and I think they stand a good chance of doing that.
I cannot recall the last time they were in the tournament, actually.
Well, there's certainly going to be a team that we're going to watch, as well as the McCann boys. They are 1-0. They don't have a lot of games to start the season. They're starting to get into their schedule. So we're going to be following them closely in Division IV. I think they have the experience and the size in Division IV to make some noise, for sure. Well, we have a light week of action here during the holidays coming up, but we're going to be following all of it once again on our high school game of the weeks coming up. We invite you to consider going up to Hoosick Valley to see that girls tournament. You probably won't see any finer collection of teams together up in Hoosick Valley next Friday, that's December 28th, and Saturday, December 29th. You've got 4 excellent high school teams. That's going to wrap it up for High School Basketball Weekly this week. I want to thank Jeff Karpaska for joining in with us this week and filling in for Rick Bua, who's on assignment. We once again always invite you to follow your favorite high school team, whether it be boys or girls, and we'll see you next week on High School Basketball Weekly.